prophet unto the nation. He is called into servitude. So Ezekiel was confronted with having to speak during a time of great distress. God's people were going through great tribulation. They were going through great tribulation, and I don't believe some of them realized the danger that they faced. They were in another land, and they had put them in an area, and they had resurrected parts of their society. They had a place for the elders, and yet they were in trouble. They were trying to make decisions for themselves, but yet they were in trouble. Y'all remember that show used to come on, Lost in Space? Mm-hmm. And the robot would get to throwing his arms everywhere, talking about Danger Will Robinson, Danger Will Robinson. I don't really think that Dr. Smith really understood what was going on half the time until they almost get him, and then he go to Holland. That was my favorite part of the show, just to see what Dr. Smith was going to do every week. But that's happening today. You don't know what kind of danger you get into, and then you're squalling and hollering. He get to hollering and running. And so when you look at that show, they were in great distress. They had a ship that didn't work, and it seemed like some of the people they had with them, like Dr. Smith, was working against the program. So God's people were going through great tribulation. Ezekiel's message was not a pleasant message filled with good words. It wasn't a pleasant message. See, they had become numb to hearing the truth, and they had become accustomed to designing the truth to fit their situation. The subjective truth, that's what they operated on. They made their own reality, and then all of a sudden they get taken in captivity. And so these words weren't pleasant words. But please notice, we are bidden by the Spirit to go even when we don't want to go. We're bidden by the Spirit. The mandate of God must be stronger than our personal feelings. You got to have, that mandate got to be stronger than your personal feelings. You got to have it. So he went in bitterness, and it is defined as distasteful or distressful in the mind, and which causes affliction and misery. You're going, but you don't want to go. You're going, but you don't want to go down there. You're going. He had just been told to take these words to heart, and all the words seemed like it was likely to be bitter. It made him mad. See, sometimes we can hear about things and it just makes us plain mad, and then we still got to go down wherever we go. So note, it also can be translated as being embittered. And see, Ezekiel, he represents a frustration. And the frustration is God saying, I've done everything for you, and yet you don't want to do right. I've taken you out of captivity, and you want to do your own thing. Well, then fine. I'm going to put you in captivity, but I still love you, and I don't like to see your condition, but I'm mad at you because of the choices that you make. Can anybody identify and agree with me that sometimes some of the choices that people around us make, sometimes the choices that our children make, they make us bitter, they distress us, but we still love them. We still want to help them. We're still trying to do the best, and we ask the question, why?
Yes.
So he went down there, but he was going down to Tel Aviv. He went in the impulse of the Spirit in bitterness, and he was mad when he left. And some things should get you mad. You should get mad when you see your loved ones that could be better, ain't doing better. Ain't nothing wrong with getting mad at them for that. and telling them you could do better for yourself. So one of the writers said that the sense of this verse, that being filled with indignation at the wickedness and obscenity of the people, I went determined to speak a word without disguise to reprove them sharply for their rebellion. And yet I was greatly distressed. I was stressed out because I had to deal with them. That's one of your greatest distresses, is dealing with people. You get on a job and become a supervisor. You was living pretty good before you became that supervisor. And then all of a sudden, you get distressed with them. And now you got to make decisions about them, and you stressed out. And then while they call in, you at work. That's stressful. Ezekiel's bitterness and anger are either reflection of God's attitude toward people, or most likely the prophet's realization that he has to pronounce doom on those he loves. Now, how could the situation get any worse? You've been deported to another society. Now you're still doing your same thing. Now he's pronouncing doom in a foreign land. When you look at the book of Psalms and they talk to the Hebrews and they say, get on those harps and play those songs that you used to play, and then they tell them that our harps are hung up because we can't sing in a strange land, something is wrong. But the hand of the Lord was strong on me. Notice what he said. I'm going through changes, but the hand of the Lord was on me. The empowerment of God was on me. I'm going where I don't want to go, but God is leading me there. So he empowered him to deal with situation. He empowered Elijah to deal with situation. He empowered Elisha to deal with situation. So he gets down there and God does not allow him to speak. But he's going through a few emotional states. He was overwhelmed by what he saw. He was overwhelmed. It's like being in bankruptcy and you throw a big party and spend all your money up. And when you see it, you're overwhelmed because how could you do this and you're in so much trouble? Shocked, appalled. I'm appalled at what I see when I walk. Just think, he thought the same thing. I get down there and I see y'all business as usual, and you're in a dangerous situation. Like a tornado coming, and you ain't even trying to prepare for it. You still up watching, stirring the beans on the stove and still watching TV. Act like they didn't say that it was coming to the sky. Shocking, appalled. And he goes down there and he sit down and he just looking around. Have you ever been so shocked that you just sit around and just look for a minute? He was dumbfounded. He was in a stupor when he got there. Now notice he went in the heat of the spirit, but he got there and he couldn't say a word. Sometimes things will happen that will leave us to a point that we can't say a word. I don't know if you've been through that. I hope you don't go through that, but keep on living and you will go through it. That you'll get down there and you'll be overwhelmed by what you see. You'll be surprised how some people live. You'll be surprised how much money that some people don't have. You'll be surprised. So Ezekiel had a message But for 7 days, he could not speak. How many times have we been a part